Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Let's make deposits into the bank of knowledge. Welcome back to Paranoi. Wait, let's bring it back. Let's make deposits into the bank of knowledge. Welcome back to the Trebles Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, formerly known as Paranoi Radio Podcast. I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. You guys like the RoboCop look? If you guys do, drop a comment. I might start doing this more often because it makes me look good, baby. Oh, yeah. Chiseled face. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have an amazing episode lined up with an amazing special guest. He's been here before, but let's jump in first to do some promotion. I want to give mad shout-outs to Cryptid Warfare Operations, Ali Christine with Keeping Kids Healthy Again, and also do not forget to check us out on the link tree. It's on the description of the show. If you're on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe, like, share, and subscribe, like, share, and subscribe, and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Now, let's jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the freaking mood. It feels good to be talking to my friends again. It feels good to be sober. It feels good to be alive. It feels good to be behind the mic. I get to pretend to be someone else for a moment. I get to be my superhero. I get to be your superhero. Yeah, the voice you hear today. A new revamped Trebles. And I couldn't have done it without the peers and the friends that started the show. This guy didn't only bring segments into the show, but he brought a paranormal element onto the show. He's been my friend from long distance for a long ass time now, about 3 years, I want to say. Please give a warm welcome to the host and amazing friend, Ghost Joe from the Warped Reality and Paranormal Podcast. Oh yeah.
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going?
Nice to see you again, bro.
You know, great to be here, man.
Did I get the name right? Because I know you shift the name also. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah, it's the Warped Reality Paranormal Podcast. Yep, that's what it is.
Where can people find you, bro?
Well, actually, we have all the TikTok, YouTube, Facebook pages, all that stuff. But you can find all of that and everything at warpedrealityparanormal.com. That's warpedrealityparanormal.com. No spaces or anything. And we have all of our social medias there. We have all of our shows, as well as we have paranormal news section, which is awesome, man, because that's one thing that you don't find on a lot of websites. And this tackles every kind of paranormal thing you could think of: UFO, cryptid, hauntings, all this kind of stuff, and it's all on our website. We also have a submit your experience section where you could put your experience, your paranormal experience on there. You could do it anonymously if you want. And so Warped Reality.
That's pretty interesting, bro, because you've evolved. I've seen your amazing special guests. I've seen the transformation of your show. I've seen the great podcast episodes that you're putting out. I congratulate you. Thank you so much for spending some time here today. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find the Warped Reality and Paranormal Podcast on all social media platforms and the description. On the description, you find the link and the connections to all of his websites and Instagram account and TikToks and all the other good stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about some personal stuff, but also diving into the paranormal slightly, bro. And it's a pleasure to talk to you about this stuff. We're going to talk about not only about what problems we have in the paranormal world, but we're also going to be talking what uplifts that side of humanity. And I have a couple questions for you, bro. And I'm gonna have a third question that I didn't send to you because I wanted to catch you off your head game. But here it is, question 1, the duality question, bro. Joe, you guard real world monsters for a living and chase the unseen ones on your podcast. Where do these two worlds overlap? What truth did you find in the darkness that changed how you see reality? Whew, that's a deep one.
Wow. Yeah, it is a good one. Yeah, it had me thinking too. Yeah, it's funny because from time to time I do, I guess, think of some of these guys as monsters, real life monsters. But really, a lot of times when you think about it, some of them are only, the way I see it is, sometimes for us, we are only one bad mistake or one bad decision away from being where they are from time to time. So, I mean, of course, there are some real monsters out there that you would be like, no, I would never do anything like what some of these guys do. Absolutely. But at the same time, some of them aren't monsters, I started doing corrections when I was 25 years old. I was super naive. I was brought up in a very, very quiet neighborhood. And I wasn't sheltered, but I was just very, very naive, I grew up in New York City. I live in upstate New York now, but I grew up in New York City, and my father was the person that, I mean, he signed me up for all of these, civil service tests. Every single one of them I took, and I remember the day when he's like, "Oh, I signed you up for correction officer. We're gonna go take, you got to go take the test in 2 days." I'm like, "What's correction officer? What's that?" He goes, "It's a prison guard." I said, "I'm never gonna do that." And here I am 19 years later doing it. But yeah, how do they kind of, I can't really say, it's hard for me to kind of say how they kind of intertwine, right? But I guess the one thing, what I was leading up to, I guess, was I was very naive then when I started, and I grew into not being so naive, right? Basically now I'm almost like a human lie detector in a way, like I can tell when somebody's lying, when somebody's not. And I'm not naive anymore. And I feel like that kind of helps with the whole paranormal thing as well, because years ago, before I was doing it, before I was doing corrections, like everything was, "Oh my God, that's a ghost. Oh my God, but now I'm like, all right, nope. Just hang out. Let's see what's going on."
Oh yeah.
It could be
There's
this, it could be
debunking.
that.
Yeah.
The other thing too that I've said a few times is my whole thing with a lot of these shows that are on TV, these ghost hunting shows. I can't watch them anymore because it gets me angry to see these so-called ghost hunters or paranormal investigators when they're investigating this super haunted place and like a noise happens and they run away. Like, you're supposed to be investigating this stuff, like, how are you running away? You're investigating. That's what you're supposedly an investigator, and the way I see it is I'm a correction officer, right? So if I'm down the tier and I hear a scream coming from down the other side of the tier, I'm not going to run away from the scream. I have to run towards that scream. That's my job. I have to see what's going on. So if you're a paranormal investigator and you see something paranormal or hear something paranormal possibly happening, why are you going the other way? So that's why I really can't watch those shows anymore. But yeah, I feel like with, to kind of sum it up, I believe that kind of helped me get rid of my, with the whole naive thing that I can't say that word, naivety. I don't even know how to say that.
Naivety.
Naivety. Well, I'm not naive anymore.
Hey, leave the messed up English words to the beaner, please. Let me
listen.
I'm the one with the thick accent here, bro.
No, I got the other thick accent from the other side of the country. So.
From the other side of the country, that is nuts. You know what? I have to agree. To a certain depth, the conspiracy game has been doing. This is why this is the whole reason why I restructured the show. This is why I started talking about. I want to start talking about positivity. And if we're gonna present a problem, we have to present a solution. We're not just gonna talk about what makes everything rotten, or try to be the first ones with the story instead of trying to be the ones with the right story. And a lot of what happens, and this is just me talking from the conspiracy aisle of this niche that we belong to, this category of stuff that we do. When I say some of my colleagues do some episodes, for example, something happens in the news, assassination, for example, and everybody gets on it, right? And everybody wants to be the first one because that's a hot topic. They want to do the hashtags, they want to get the likes, they want to get the views, they want to get the streams up level, and they want to get paid and hopefully sponsored and monetized. Trust me, I do too. I'm not disrespecting the hustle. I'm disrespecting the way you're doing it, because I've been in this game for about 5 years. I've gone through up and down. I've been recording in my Mitsubishi. I've been recording finally in the studio. In fact, I actually think this is the first time you and I have ever recorded in this freaking studio. And you've known me for the past 3 years. I've been up and down. I've seen messed up days. I've had great days. I've had days of 1,000 likes. I've had days of 20 likes, for example, like today. It doesn't matter what I post today. I'm not going to get over 20 likes. It's okay. It happens. But when you guys, TV, Hollywood up the story to make an impact or an wow factor, it causes us to look nuts. It discredits everything. So you have rich, well-funded shows for paranormal investigators that run away when they see a paranormal ghost. And it's all for a wow factor. You got all the cameras, you got all the people, you got the professionals, you got the witch, you got the medium, everybody's there. And then the moment something happens, you guys run away. And it's just, what the heck? If I would have had that type of funding, if I would have had the funding that has that, I'm gonna give you an example, like Joe Rogan has. If I would have that type of funding, bro, if I had, oh my goodness, man, you know what I'll be doing? Because my mentality is different. We come from the gutter. We come from where we do like to research and investigate. So it's it's very important to keep each other accountable, I want to say, and also clean, because I don't want to talk any smack here, but in the paranormal activity, in the cryptid talk, it's popular right now, bro. Everybody's jumping on the train. It's so hot. It's a hot thing. Have you noticed that the last couple of years, like the cryptids, the Bigfoots, the Mothman, the Men in Black, the ghosts?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think there's only one there's only one genre I think that's beating out the paranormal right now. And I don't think anything is beating out true crime right now. I think that is the top of the echelon right there, is true crime. I mean, that's huge right now. And not to cut you off or anything.
No, that's percent.
The true crime thing, actually, we're, by the way, with my podcast, I actually have a co-host named Ken Mark. He's awesome. Creepy Ken, we call him. And
shout out to Creepy Ken.
Absolutely. And he's been doing a lot of great work and stuff. And, me and him are partners in it. When he came on board, I'm like, listen, this is your podcast as much as it's mine. Let's make this thing happen and stuff. And we've just been talking that we're going to possibly dip our toes a little bit into some true crime stuff as well. I ran away from it the past 5 years doing this podcast.
Why? What happened? I mean, I would think you would like these stories because they connect. They go hand in hand with paranormal activities in asylums and
yeah, and that's kind of like where me and Creepy Ken is seeing this now. I ran away from it because I kept saying, I'm doing the podcast so I don't have to think about work. And if I'm doing a thing about true crime, it's almost like I'm bringing my work home with me, because that's what I do for my day job. I see these murderers. I see these crazy. Dude.
That's where it overlaps. Full circle, baby. Look at that.
In 2017, I, without saying any names, I was toe to toe with this dude that was like 6'8", and me and him almost got into it. And then when I got into the elevator with my supervisor, she goes, "Oh, you know what he did?" I'm like, I don't really care, but what? Like, oh, he killed his girlfriend and chopped her up, and they found all of her body parts in his freezer. I was like, that's probably something you should have told me before I got on this guy's bad side. But I mean, these guys are monsters, man. So yeah, so some of them are monsters, like we talked before. But yeah, that was kind of crazy, man. But what was funny about that was it was one of those times when me and him got into it. I used to do the laundry post in one of the jobs that I used to do. And he asked for something, and I was like, no, we don't have it. And we're just going back and forth. And me being a smart ass Italian New Yorker,
oh yeah,
had some stupid things to say.
Mm.
that he didn't really care for too much. And we're going back and forth. But what was funny though was that the next week that I came up there, he's like, "Hey, what's going on, CO? How you doing, man? You need anything?" Blah blah blah. So he then had respect for me because I stood up to him.
Oh yeah.
Because I wasn't scared of him, and I did stand up to him. So now every time I went up there, it's like, "Oh, yo, you know, you need help with anything? You want me to help pass out anything?" Like, then he was like my best friend, going up there. So, it's a different kind of element behind the bars with that. But, on the outside, this dude is a cold-blooded killer that did some crazy stuff like chopping somebody up, unreal.
Connecting those dots. We're not telling you guys to go headfirst with prisoners, guys. Don't do that.
Oh no.
Please, if you can avoid an issue,
Don't do
avoid the
that.
issue.
Yeah. No. That was a certain situation, and yeah, no, we're definitely not saying that at all.
And if you see a ghost, run towards them. I'm sure they won't do anything. I believe now. I'm closer to Jesus in my 34 years of existence. I'm closer to Jesus now more than any other time in my life. And this is not a religious show, but I have to say I am covered and protected in the blood of Jesus. And if I have to walk, I've seen an elf. I think I told you a long time ago that I've seen an elf, and I've seen a duende. And I know my mother-in-law she has a connection with witchcraft, and she shapeshifts, and she really does become a boar. Yes, I've said that countless of times on the show, but I've never been afraid of it. I respect it because I know it exists, and I know that people use it as a tool, and I know witchcraft, and I know serial killers, and I know possessions happen, and I know paranormal activity, and all this stuff has to be sometimes connected to interdimensionally intertwined with demonic entities, and sometimes poltergeists can be aggressive and all this stuff. So be very careful when you guys investigate. My homegirl, she haunts. She's been a couple times on the show. She does amazing work, and she goes in paranormally activated places, and she goes in with like a clean heart. She pays respects. She does her investigation and comes out with great footage, great recordings, and she talks about it very positively. So not all of the scenarios have to be negative. You get me? So I think that's another area where people are running into. They have this glorified negativity about paranormal activity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why, going back to the whole shows thing that we were talking about, that's why I'll always enjoy and respect the very first season of Ghost Hunters. Because if you've ever seen the very first season of it, most of those shows, they didn't find anything. They did investigations. They were like, "Oh yeah," they're like, "Oh, this place isn't haunted," And then I think just after a while, the TV companies are like, "Listen, you guys better start finding something, otherwise you're gonna find a new job."
Whoa, word, that happens all the time. Yeah.
So, and I mean, and in a way, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you were saying this before about how they Hollywood things up and stuff. I get it to a point. I do. You got to make it interesting. People aren't going to watch. I get it. You have to have some kind of entertainment value into it. But don't change the story around, at least. Going into the I don't know if you've seen the most recent Conjuring movie.
No. It was good.
It was decent. It was a good movie, but if you know the actual story behind it, I probably can't even really go into the entire story, but it wasn't that story. Like, it was about like the mirror and stuff like that, and this family, but that family had nothing to do with this mirror. They just kind of brought these two things together, because I guess they needed
to Hollywood it.
Yeah, they so that I'm not crazy about, because you just you just change the story around. Don't change the story. You can Hollywood things up, put more smoke, put more ghosts and things and scares or whatever, but don't change the story around.
Yeah, 1000%. Now that we're here talking about films, did you see the Terrifier series?
I love the Terrifier movies. Man.
Dude, I'm telling you, yes, bro.
Me and my buddy Edgegrave Dave that does all my horror movie reviews now. He's awesome, by the way. I've known him since the second grade, and we've been in bands together and all that stuff. He's a great singer, and we are infatuated with the Terrifier movies. Love it. Mm-hmm. David Howard Thornton, awesome. Like the girl that plays Sienna, Lauren Lavera, in Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3, amazing final girl. She kicks ass. You know, great movies, man. And I just had this clip that I played because we did a whole episode on haunted movies and haunted movie sets a couple weeks ago. And I had this clip of when Robert Englund, I'm sure you know, got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Halloween this year.
Really? Oh, look at this.
Yeah. Go check it out, man. He got a brand new spanking new star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and probably doesn't have gum on it yet. You know, a lot of people don't realize how like kind of dingy the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
And he deserves it, man. He deserves it,
man. Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, it's Freddy Krueger. You know, nobody could play Krueger like him. And one of the guys that was inducting him was saying about all of these, you know, famous, you know, he's like, you know, if you thought of horror movie icons from years ago, you'll think Dracula, the Wolfman, blah, blah, blah. He goes, nowadays, if you think of horror icons, he goes, you think Freddy, Jason, Michael, Chucky, Ghostface, and he goes, and now Art the Clown. I'm like, you know what? That's awesome. I'm so happy he put Art the Clown in there. Dude, Art the Clown is taking over everything. If you went to Spirit Halloween this year, he has a whole section. His section is bigger than anybody's section.
That's nuts, bro. I used to work for the Halloween and the adult industry, the costume industry, and this is way before its time. But you could customize that, and then think about the knockoffs, bro. How many Chinese knockoffs there was out there, bro? I'm telling you, it's crazy, bro. That movie, I like the first one. The third one, I love it because it shows like foundation of like what's gonna happen next. The portal, the demonic. It's all like very basic. It's not too like fluffy. It's not too conjuring. You know? Yeah, it's direct to the point.
Much thinking to it. There's not much thinking involved, and that's the kind of movie I like.
And a lot of slashing. Yep, I love it.
You know, and the reason why I like it, you know, because people are like, oh, it's so gory. Listen, I love it because it's so ridiculous. You know, for me, I don't like the Saw movies. The reason why I don't like the Saw movies is because it's too real for me. I love horror movies, but I feel like the Saw movies are way too realistic for me. Give me the Evil Dead, Terrifier, because look, you know, when you chop somebody's head off or like, it doesn't spill out like gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of blood. That doesn't really happen like that.
Non-stop.
You know, right. Yeah. You know, but that's why these movies are fun. That's why I consider them fun, because it's like, it's so outlandish. Evil Dead, if you watch the Evil Dead movies, there's black blood coming out of people, green blood coming out of people. Silly, you know? So that's the kind of stuff I like. Yeah, it's crazy and people are getting sliced up, but it's so unrealistic. It makes it fun to watch for me. Saw is different for me.
It's hardcore.
The first one, monumental. Love the first one. Everything else, to me, wasn't that great.
It wasn't. It was the storyline probably that they messed up on. I love the first one. I have all 7 movies. I think it's 7 of them. I have them on my bottom as a bundle, digital discs. But I've only seen like the first 2 because I can't stick. It's not Star Wars. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a Star Wars fan. But Terrifier 1, 2, and 3, great movies. And just put it to like this, bro. There's a scene, and how do you say that? What's the blooper I'm trying to find? I'm trying to discretion advised, I guess. The girl gets in the first movie. There's one of the girls, which I think she should have survived because she's so hot. They turn her upside down, bro. And then he
hacksaw.
chops. Yeah, that's nuts, bro. He cuts her right from the middle. Imagine, use your imagination, guys. Or better yet, go watch the movie. It's a great freaking film. Fast starter too. The gory part starts within the first 15 minutes. You don't have to wait too much for a stupid storyline. It gets right into it. I love it.
Yeah, man, that one. But it's funny because each movie he's like, let me see if I can make this even worse. And then the second one was the bedroom scene, which was nuts. That bedroom scene. Nobody thought he could ever beat the bedroom scene. And then in the third one was the shower scene, which was insane.
That was bad. That was bad, bro.
And that girl was good looking too. The one in the shower scene in the third one.
Yeah.
She was, I was upset.
Yeah.
I was upset with that one.
Let's keep it moving, bro. They're great movies. I have another question for you, bro.
Go ahead, man.
So, before warped reality ever existed, what childhood moment first cracked the door open for you? The story, fear, or encounter that made you realize that the world isn't what it seems?
So I saw my first paranormal entity when I was probably six, actually, I would say 6 or 7, maybe. And that was in my grandparents' apartment building in Paranoi, Queens. And it was the 80s, the mid 80s, and I'm sleeping it was like a full-size bed, probably not even a full-size bed. I'm sleeping on the edge. My cousin was sleeping in the middle, and my sister was sleeping towards the end. All three of us were sleeping in the same bed, like it was just, we were all young and stuff. And in the middle of the night, I wake up and I see this figure, and it was all white, and it's kind of floating towards the room. Because to give you a better visual, right, the bed was against the wall, and you could see the long hallway straight in front of you. And then there's doors and stuff on either side. Okay. So I see this figure that's floating towards me, floating towards the room. And it keeps going back and forth and going into the different rooms and stuff and moving around. And I'm, my little brain, I'm like, looking, I'm like, what is that? I'm 6 years old. I don't know what the hell is that. Never watched any movies or anything like that. It's 6. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm staring at it. And then I wake up my cousin.
Oh, man.
And she's like 3 years older than me. Right. So she was probably about 9 or so. And she saw it too. So that's why I know I wasn't dreaming. I know I'm not going crazy, because to this day, she'll still say that she saw it. So, but the one thing I did notice was that this entity was definitely floating. It didn't have feet, it was floating in the air. And then after probably a minute or two, I got scared and I screamed. All the lights went on, and that was it. But I've seen a whole bunch of, I've seen a few other full-bodied apparitions since. I've had things falling over, especially while I'm doing my podcast. Things have happened too.
Shut the front door.
Oh yeah, man.
What?
And it's always when I'm like, for example, I was about to talk to this demonologist, a very famous demonologist who was actually on Ghost Hunters for the first 2 seasons. And I was getting my stuff ready, getting all my levels right and stuff before he jumped on the call. And I hear, now to the left side of me is my sliding glass door that leads out to my backyard. Okay. I do all my interviews 9-10 o'clock at night. I heard knocking on that door, bro. Like somebody's out there knocking on the door. Like 3 knocks. Ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, I'm not answering that. I know that there's not going to be anybody standing there. I'm not answering that. So I just kind of say, I say out loud, I'm like, listen, I'm just doing an interview. It's just for entertainment. No big deal. I get it. You're here, whatever. Sorry, or whatever. Now let me tell you, I mean, that's just one of the occurrences. I've had a few others.
That's nuts. I can't.
That one was crazy. Whenever you get a sign like that, and that was the thing too, since I've been a kid, maybe one of your family members could even answer this for me. Ever since I was a kid, whenever I ask for a sign, I get a sign. Like for example, years ago, I was talking to what was it? My grandmother was very ill, and we all went to my aunt's house, right? Because that's where the hospital was around there, so we were all sleeping over on in her house and stuff.
Mhm.
That house was supposedly haunted by a spirit named Charlie.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
She said it for the longest time that this spirit used to stand at the foot of her bed and all this stuff.
Mm.
Right. So here comes me, I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm like, hey, I'm getting ready to go to the hospital, whatever. It's earlier in the day. I'm like, hey, if there's anything here still, give me a sign, right? Nothing, right? So later on that night, I'm sleeping on the couch. My other cousin, who's about my age, is sleeping on the other couch, and who's unfortunately he had just recently passed away about 2 years ago from fentanyl overdose. Yeah, U.S. Navy too, man. Veteran,
What? Get
awesome
out.
dude, man. He was a good guy, Jason. So
Sorry for your loss, man.
yeah, man, that was a rough one for me. Even though I didn't see him much, but he was a good dude. But so he was sleeping on one couch, I was sleeping on the other couch, and all of a sudden the cable box, the TV channels kept flipping and flipping and flipping and kept going and going, and I'm like, well, that's weird, So I'm like, yo, Jay, I'm like, how come the TV is doing that? He goes, I don't know. He goes, just turn it off, right? So he turns the cable box off. The cable box turns right back on and starts flipping the channels again.
Shut the front door.
So,
Oh my God, bro.
so me being me, I started laughing. And he's like, what did you do? I'm like, I just asked for a sign, man. I asked for a sign this morning, and I guess this is the sign. And he goes, I swear to God, if I see anything, you're dead. But yeah, man, so every and that's only one occurrence. Every time I ask for a sign, I somehow always get something. And I'm not psychic. I don't claim to be psychic or anything like that, or a medium, or I'm not. But there's got to be something there when the fact that maybe I'm more open to it, or I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's a crazy thing.
I've never been afraid, and I really don't want to have any type of that type of experience. But when I saw that out, bro, I know what you felt. Like you just realized something's there. That I'm telling you, bro, nothing compares to that feeling, because no one is gonna believe you, and you don't care. It's just, what the hell you just saw. It's nuts. And then you're working. You were doing a podcast and someone's knocking at your door, bro. Like, I would have probably shut down everything and got out of that room very,
Yeah.
very, very fast. Yeah, I would have been afraid.
Well, all right. So sometimes when I'm doing research down here and I'm sitting down here and it's quiet or whatever, I'm by myself and I'm sitting here doing research for a lot of times. Like, I guess a lot of times I'm doing research on demons and demonic possession.
There it is.
And I'm typing it up and I'm like, I get like this crazy chill down my back, just out of nowhere. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep. I'll do this another day. And that's like kind of like most of the time, like if I'm sitting here and if I'm talking to you right now and something just falls over while I'm talking about paranormal stuff, I'm just like, whatever, it's all good. But when I get that certain feeling, I'm like, you know what? That's not a good feeling. I'm just gonna not do this right now. That happened to me because I've also been trying to do voiceover and audiobook narration too.
Nice.
And when I first tried starting to do it a few years back, the one and only book that had actually said, oh yeah, you could do the audiobook. I'm like, all right, what is it? An Encyclopedia of Demons. And I'm like, okay. And basically it was reading 3,500 demons, their names and their origins. like an encyclopedia of demons. Like that's exactly. And I was still probably going to do it. And then after a while, I said, you know what? I don't feel comfortable doing this.
You're clairvoyant. I think you have something in your genes, bro. I don't want to interrupt you, but there's something there, man. He's trying to tap into you.
I was like, you know what? I'm like,
Damn.
something tells me saying 3,500 demon names out loud probably isn't a good idea. I don't think I could handle one demon.
Good.
3,500.
Good gut feeling. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to pass. And I think she probably gets that a lot because she's like, all right, no problem. And then I didn't hear from her again after that. And I think she's still looking for people to do it. And that was like 4 years ago. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy thing. Like, why, not to mention, I had to look up almost every single word in the introduction because it's all like Latin based words. And I didn't really know how to pronounce most of them anyway.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, man, like I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And then you don't know what the hell you're saying, opening up a portal, and then your house gets all paranormally activated or worse. We don't need none of that energy out here, man.
Right. And that's exactly why I used to ask for these signs. Like I was saying before, I'd be like, oh yeah, give me a sign. I don't do that anymore because I have a family now. You met my little girl a little while ago. I have a family. I can't have that stuff going on here. I don't want to frighten them. I don't want any of that stuff coming on here. Now,
yeah.
Mind you, I know things like to come around here when I'm doing my podcast, but I've never really felt anything evil unless I'm typing up about evil stuff. That's when I stop and I'm like, no, I'm good. But that might not even be evil. That might be like what you were saying. Somebody telling me like, yo, stop this right now. Don't look this up right now.
Yeah. Don't get us angry. Don't disturb. Yeah. You know what my mother told me when I told her about the elf?
What's that?
You know what she told me? She just told me, don't encourage it. Don't entertain it. Don't leave offerings. Let them pass. For the same reason. She probably knew something. She told me, don't talk about it. Leave them alone.
Wow.
And then she went on to tell me a story in Mexico. The neighborhood drunk lost 10 years of his life and a child to 6 elves, duendes, and when he came back around, he snapped back into this dimension. He went to his house. His wife was pregnant again. There was a 10-year-old boy, and when she called him up to go meet her dad, that was technically dead, it had the face of the freaking elves that stopped him originally. So the elves stole his seed, stole his time, stole his mind, basically, his life. And then he became the neighborhood drunk, and he's dead. So when my mom told me, don't interact with it, I was like, okay, I will not. Yeah.
One of the things actually that had happened that I'm still not sure about, right, was now, a couple of years ago, I had this eye thing that happened, this visual thing that happened, and I basically lost my full eyesight for a good 4 days. I couldn't see anything. Like I was blind. Like it was bad. All I saw was shapes, right? And then, after I got injections in both my eyeballs, which was very unpleasant, luckily the medicine helped and it worked. Now, what had happened was it's called CSR, central serous retinopathy, right? And what the doctor told me was that it came from high levels of stress. And at the time, I was working 20 to 24 hours every day at work and not getting any sleep. And one of my shifts was for 31 hours in a jail, bro. Like, I mean, it was crazy. That was the time when like I didn't do any podcasting things for at least like 9-10 months because I couldn't even think straight most of the time.
Yeah.
So this stress had hit me, and it was, thank God, after a month, like my eyesight came back fully. But the weird part about it was just 3 days before the eyesight thing happened, I did a whole special on the black-eyed kids.
That was the bomb of the night. And I remember you talking about that. And you know what's funny? Right when we started the show, I was gonna mention the Black Eyed Kids. I just didn't because I was like, it doesn't feel right. Like, and I was gonna and then I stayed quiet and said I just flipped it to a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's where the time. I remember that time because you told me you got really sick and you stopped giving me segments because you were a part of the show for a while.
yeah.
And yeah, wow.
What's crazy is that me and my co-host, me and Ken, just did a whole episode on Black Eyed Kids yesterday. So I was like, listen, bro, I'm like, if it happens again, it's your fault. I'm saying it's your fault, but
No,
I think
God
it had to have
forbid.
been, I think it had to have been the stress. But it's and
Yeah, I
now,
know. I
and
know.
now
You
I'm in a
wouldn't
much
look at
better,
it.
now I'm in a much better place in my job and stuff. I'm not as stressed as I was. We're still doing 80 hours a week, but not the 150 or whatever the hell we were doing before. So it's a lot better now than it was. So I'm not nearly as stressed as I was. But yeah, it's weird timing, you know.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, bro. I don't believe in coincidences. That's against my religion. They're gonna be like everything is cause and effect. So let's just pretend and say, yes, it was because of the stress. Let's just pretend and say that. Let's
Let's
eliminate
go
the
with that.
but you know what? You know what? It's fun to think about because some things are just, ripple effects, bro. I'm telling you. You never know what you're tapping into. You are a person that has been paranormally activated since I met you. You used to tell me these stories and the Black Eyed Kids is funny. You lost. Did you say anything insulting? Did you say anything that probably would have triggered some type of
I always say something stupid, man, on these shows. I try to keep it light and fun.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
I can't do, and that's why me and Ken get along so well too, is because I can't be the welcome to the Warped Reality Paranormal Podcast. This is
Mm.
your host. I can't do that. I'm like, hey,
Mm.
what's going on? Welcome to the Warped.
Yeah.
I can't. I have too much enthusiasm for this stuff to do that. So
Yeah.
so for me, I don't know. I probably did. And listen, I said some stupid things yet on yesterday's show too. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just going by. But here's the crazy thing. Now, I'm not religious, and I probably should have been after this moment. Eventually I'll get there, man. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to start it. I don't know how to get there. But a few days now, when I couldn't see anything, right? It was a really, really tough day for me. Like, it was probably the third day in, I couldn't see anything at all, like nothing. And I was scared to death, because everything that kept going through my mind was, I'm never going to see my kids again. I'm never going to, what's going on? Like, I'm only 42 years old. Like, how could I be blind? You know? So all this stuff was going through my head. So what did I do? I looked to the man upstairs, even though sometimes I don't give him credit. you know, I think that's what a lot of us do. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm I'm sorry for whatever I did. If you could just help me out here, like just I can't see anything. Like, help me out. When I tell you, man, not 5 minutes later, I started to see again.
Shut the fuck
Not
up.
5 minutes. I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. Not 5 minutes later, I started being able to see again. Mind you, my full vision didn't come back for another 3 weeks, but I was able to see. And it was just, I was like, what the hell? Like, you would think that would have been my divine, intervention or whatever you call it.
Yeah, but we're human. But we're human.
It should have been, and I still question a lot of things, but that was pretty amazing, man. And like you said, there's no coincidences, and that definitely probably was not a coincidence that happened.
You said something very key right now on the finishing portion of the show. You said something. I don't know where to start. I didn't either, bro. I didn't either. You know, let's go into the. This is gonna go tie. This is all gonna tie in at the end. What's your favorite emotion? What's your favorite emotion?
Well, I love being happy, man. That's definitely my favorite emotion for sure. You know.
I give it a lot of thought, and that's the final question I give everybody. I always catch everybody off their game. Mine is awe.
Okay.
The moment when you ask something someone, in that moment where it sparks the reaction they're about to tell you, that moment that they think of script, that's my favorite emotion. Keeps me on my toes. So this happened, and I didn't know where to start. I am not a devout Christian. I am not an exemplary father, man, or religious colleague, or whatever you want to call these people. But I do know that I have an intimate relationship with God. That's probably the best place I can tell you. You don't have to follow no guideline. Just speak. Just speak to him. As if he was your best friend, as if you needed a counselor. If you have a problem, maybe sometimes you just need to lash out and say a couple bad words and say it towards him. Say it to him. Say it with him. That is the best way you'll find him. If you search within, obviously you have to open the Bible, right, from time to time, but if you want to find God, he's always there. And when you say, I don't know where to start, I'm like, me neither, bro. I didn't know where to start. Everybody was telling me how to, but it was just white noise until something clicked inside and you said, I'm going to reach out. Think back of that moment when you reached out. He'll be there, bro.
Yeah.
He'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, and I reach out to my mom all the time too, because my mom passed away in 2010. And a lot of times I'll be like, Mom, I need some help here. Even if it's something stupid, like, listen, I can't find this wire that I really need for tonight. I don't know what the hell it is. I looked everywhere, and it's nowhere to be found. And then every time I do that, bro, and I'm saying every single time.
Whoa, bro.
Every single time I say something like that, I'll hear a noise in the corner, and then I'll go check the corner that I checked 3 times already, and the wire will be there, or whatever it is that I was looking for will be there. And I'm like,
are you freaking serious, bro?
I swear to you. It is not, I've known you a long time. I'm not going to start lying to you now, sir. Like, this stuff freaks me out because I'm like, thanks. That was cool. Thank you.
That was cool.
So is it my mom? Maybe, it could be somebody else that's looking out too, but yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing, man. And, like I said, I'm not a religious guy. I'm not. I wish one day I could be, church doesn't do anything for me. If I go to church, I'm going to fall asleep, and I'd rather not go and not fall asleep at church.
And not be disrespectful, huh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just because, like, hearing those hymns, it just puts me to sleep, man. It's boring for me,
Yeah.
So I can't really do that. But like you said, you kind of have to have your own relationship.
Yeah, you have to have your own relationship. It's an intimate thing.
Yeah.
You are the church, bro. You are your own temple. This is where he resides. You could go to a brick and mortar and congregate, but you and I are having church right now. And I'm not trying to be biblical. I'm not trying to be a scripture guy or nothing. But wherever one or two people mention Jesus' name, that's church. You don't have to go to the brick and mortar. You don't have to be part of a congregation to be saved or to be righteous. But that's for a different conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Ghost Joe from the Warped Reality and Paranormal Podcast. He has an amazing show, amazing special guest, and it's paranormally activated. Oh, yeah. Joe, let them know where they can find you, bro.
Again, you can check me out, warpedrealityparanormal.com, and on all these social platforms, TikTok and YouTube and all that good stuff. Check out the podcast on all major podcasting platforms. And yeah, but definitely check out warpedrealityparanormal.com.
Do you have a YouTube already? A YouTube account?
Yeah, there's a YouTube account. Yeah, we're trying to get people on there. YouTube is hard, man. YouTube is a hard platform.
Trust me, bro.
TikTok is way easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
TikTok is way easier than
Mhm.
YouTube. YouTube's tough.
Yeah, it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you check them out on all social media platforms. The Warp Reality and Paranormal Podcast. And that is Ghost Joe. He's in the description of the show. I want to remind you that the most important thing that you can do for the show is word of mouth. Check us out and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Where the hell are my glasses at? Wait.
You got to put them on for the end. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Peace out, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.
That was awesome, bro.